Some of President Trump's phone calls with various world leaders leaked, and we have a curious back and forth here with the Mexican president. President Donald Trump, in a January 27th phone call, repeatedly asked his Mexican counterpart, Enrique Peña Nieto, to stop publicly refusing to pay for the border wall that was a central Trump campaign promise, according to a transcript published by the Washington Post. Trump described his signature campaign issue as the least important thing we are talking about. Wow, while adding, politically, it might be the most important. The U.S. president said Peña Nieto's refusal to pay for the wall had left the White House boxed in politically. When asked by the press about the issue, Trump said both of them should deflect. Quote, "So what I would like to recommend is, if we're going to have continued dialogue, we will work out the wall," Trump said. They're going to say, "Who's going to pay for the wall, Mr. President?" to both of us, and we should both say, we will work it out. It will work out in the formula somehow. As opposed to saying, we will not pay, and me saying, we will not pay. Peña Nieto agreed that talking about the wall was unproductive. Quote, "This is what I suggest, Mr. President," Peña Nieto said. "Let us stop talking about the wall. I have recognized the right of any government to protect its borders as it deems necessary and convenient, but my position has been and will continue to be very firm, saying that Mexico cannot pay for that wall." "But you cannot say that to the press," Trump shot back. "The press is going to go with that, and I cannot live with that. You cannot say that to the press because I cannot negotiate under those circumstances." Okay, so this is hilarious for a variety of reasons. The most important one being he's begging. He's begging the Mexican president. Now, this is the guy who ran as, "Yeah, here I am, macho man, tough guy. I'm going to take on world leaders. And I'm rough around the edges. I'm like a regular person. Hey, let me tell you the way it's supposed to go. I'm the guy. Trump's the guy. Remember, he's in The Apprentice. He says, "You're fired. That's right, you're fired. I'm the boss. I'm the big boss man here. Yeah, that's what I am." Big boss man, like WWE. Trump was in WWE too. But then in real life, behind the scenes, he's like, "Okay, step aside, guys. Get the cameras out of the room. Here, I'm gonna have a serious policy talk here with my Mexican counterpart, and we're gonna work some things out. They're gonna pay for that wall. Believe me. And then they get behind closed doors, and Trump's like, "Look, we have to make some sort of a deal. I just want you to not say anymore that you're not gonna pay for it because I said that you're gonna pay for it. And I guess." What a bitch. What a little bitch, throwing around his weight, but behind closed doors, he's like, "Look, please, I'll give you a hand job behind a dumpster at an Arby's, please. It's funny." But the other part this really should get under the skin of the people who voted for Trump based on this reason, because he said, it is, quote, "the least important thing we are talking about. But politically, it might be the most important." So do you understand that? The least important thing that we're talking about. Damn, man. Damn, that's a slap across the face to every single person who would go to those rallies and be like, what are we going to do? Build a wall! Who's going to pay for it? Mexico! Yeah! The wall's the best thing ever! It's so important! Oh my God! President Trump will never let us down! Oh. And then he gets behind the scenes, he's like, "Look, this is totally irrelevant. Like, a wall, whatever, who gives a shit? It's the least important thing we're going to talk about." Man, it shows you, though. Like, I think a lot of people thought, maybe including myself at times, that Trump is too stupid to even, strategize. And that when he says certain things, he'll stumble upon the right strategy in some instances. In other instances, he stumbles on sounding like the biggest fucking idiot in the world, because he also is pretty dumb. But this is him saying, directly to the president of Mexico, "Okay, look, dude, here's what we're going to do. We're going to deflect." That's what we're going to do. They're going to ask you questions about this, and you're going to be like Neo from The Matrix. Oh, loser, man. What a loser. So anyway, if you voted for him because you thought he cares so much about that wall, he's going to get that wall built. You know what's going to happen? Mexico's going to pay for it. That's what's going to happen. If that's what you thought, you're a sucker. You've been played. You're a chump. He doesn't mean anything he says, man. This is a guy who only cares about self-aggrandizement. He only cares about narcissism, his ego. He says anything that suits his own purposes. He has no core. He has no fundamental beliefs. And clearly the wall is one of the things he personally files under the whatever category. But it was something that he knew he could shore up his base by using it. And he was able to feel out what the proper thing to say is to weave his way to build a winning coalition. And half the stuff was bigoted. You know, do nationwide stop and frisk. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do nationwide stop and frisk, and we're going to ban all Muslims. We're going to ban all Muslims from coming into the country. It'll be tremendous, believe me. And we're going to build that wall. And the immigrants that come in, they're rapists, they're criminals. I assume some are good people. So that stuff shored up the base, and then you got more crossover voters, the so-called Reagan Democrats, or the people who are disaffected in the Rust Belt, who his populism, economic populism worked for them, cobbled together this coalition, won. But this is what really goes on, man, in his mind and behind the scenes. I mean, you can't expect anything that this guy says to be solid, because just to give one more example, he railed against Hillary Clinton and Ted Cruz for their Wall Street connections, and specifically for Goldman Sachs connections. And then Trump appoints like all of Goldman Sachs when he gets in office. His entire cabinet, he's like, shit, we only have 97 people from Goldman Sachs. Can we get a 98th? Can we get a 98th? All right, we got the president from Goldman Sachs. We got other high-level officials from Goldman Sachs. Come on, can we get more Goldman Sachs? So if somebody's willing to do a 180 like that, I mean, with his trade policy, made in America is what you got to do. Anyway, let me outsource more of my jobs. He has 12 countries he has his products made in. So anybody who's willing to do that much of a 180, yeah, he's going to do shit like this behind the scenes. This really isn't important. Now, who gives a shit about a wall? But anyway, please don't talk about it anymore. And then what's he going to do at the next rally he goes to? We're going to build that wall, and who's going to pay for it? Mexico! He's lying to you. You've been had, you've been took.